Live now, Hasim bhai.
Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salam ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Inshallah, in today's talk, this is our, I believe, 14th session while we are discussing the life of Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu an. We will be talking about a couple of specific events in the life of Abu Bakr when he was a Khalifa. And among that, we started talking about his presence in the society as an individual, as Abu Bakr, besides for Khalifa as well. And also we will talk about the way the judiciary was running in the time of Abu Bakr, and how Abu Bakr was playing a pivotal role in doing Amr bil Ma'ruf wa Nahy anil Munkar, which is enjoining the good and forbidding the evil. One of the incidents that happened in the time of Abu Bakr was while he was, as we discussed many of the incidents last week, just a continuation to it, while he was the Khalifa, and he was in Mecca, and they were people that still have some of the old Jahiliyyah things that they were doing, and he was very adamant to make sure that people go back to the correct understanding of Islam and follow the correct understanding of Islam. So he saw a woman, her name was Zainab, and he saw the woman that she was there to do the pilgrim, and while she was there, she was not talking to anybody, and she kind of took the oath that she would not talk to anybody, because as if not talking to anybody during the Hajj or the pilgrim would make the Hajj more worthy, or this is a sign of more righteousness, that you have devoted yourself, you're not talking to anybody at all. So Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu an asked the woman, and she told her, speak, for what you are doing is not permissible, because this is not the way Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam he performed the Hajj. And we understand that you cannot just come up with new ways of doing the ibadat and thinking that because you are putting yourself in more difficulty, that means that the ibadah is of higher importance, because it has nothing to do with thinking this way, that if you are putting yourself in more pain, that means that it is that ibadah will have more hasanat for you. The ibadah has to be done the way Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has showed us how to do. So Abu Bakr talked to the woman and told her that speak, as Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not do that way. So now the woman asked Abu Bakr, she did not know who he was, so she asked, who are you? And upon that, Abu Bakr replied that I am one of the Muhajirun. So one of the Muhajirin. So the woman goes, from which of the Muhajirin that you are talking about? So he said he's from Quraysh. Now the woman goes, okay, then which part of the Quraysh, which tribe of the clan of the Quraysh do you belong to? Now Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu an, he was, you can tell from the beginning that he was trying to avoid to show that he is Abu Bakr, rather as Amir al-Mu'mineen at that time. He realized that she's continuously asking questions, so his response was, verily you asked too many questions, so I am Abu Bakr. Now when the woman realized that he is the Khalifa, Khalifatul Rasul, Amir al-Mu'mineen, so she now started asking him questions. She goes, oh Khalifa of the Rasul, or Khalifatul Rasul, for how much longer will we remain upon this goodness that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? How long we will be in this state, and we will go back to, or we'll start competing for ignorance again? Abu Bakr said, you will remain upon as long as your imams remain upright. So he's referring to the leadership. As long as your leadership is upright, they are the one who are implementing the commands of Allah Azza wa Jal, they are the one who's sticking with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed, then the ummah as a whole, they will continue to be upright. So that was important. Now, the word imam is it was a common Arabic word for the people at that time, but even then the woman asked about who are the imams, even though she knew what the imam means, because imam is the one who leads. So Abu Bakr replied to her to make it very clear, among your people, did you not have leaders and people of high standing in society, people who gave orders to their people and who were obeyed by them? So she said yes, meaning the imams are the ones who are the leaders among them. So she replied, yes, we followed our leaders as well. So Abu Bakr said, then the imam bears the exact same relationship with the people, i.e., they lead and give commands, and the people follow them and obey their commands. That's what it means by imam. And to understand the concept that when we are talking about following the leadership here, he is talking about the leadership who is implementing the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not the one who are implementing kufr over the people. Of course, it's talking about the one who are ruling by Islam. Now, so people will continue to be straight as long as the imams, as the leaders, are straight, meaning they are doing the right thing. Unfortunately, many a times people try to convince the people this way, that if you want to have good leadership on top of you, everybody have to become good, and then you will have good leaders. This is an incorrect understanding. This is not the way you find in the past. As a matter of fact, you need the leadership to be straight as well, not just thinking of just putting the burden on the regular people, that when you become good, then you will get the right people. And inshallah, I can see that there will be questions about this concept, and we can probably talk at the end of the talk as well about the subject as well. But I want to make sure that this was Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu an, he mentioned regarding the question that the woman was asking. So that was about the way when Abu Bakr was among the people. He used to be among the people as a regular person, and he did not leave any chance to teach the people if he sees something wrong. And that's very same idea of Amr bil Ma'ruf wa Nahy anil Munkar, which is enjoining the good and forbidding the evil. You can see in the life of Abu Bakr throughout his life, while he was with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and after Rasulullah passed away as well. And this is one of the cornerstones of the Islamic society as well. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even when refers to the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as the best nation, it is linked to the very same concept there as well, which is Amr bil Ma'ruf wa Nahy anil Munkar. When Allah Azza wa Jal says, "Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat lin-nas, ta'muruna bil ma'ruf wa tanhauna 'anil munkar wa tu'minuna billah," that you are the best nation raised for the mankind. See, and then the right after this has been mentioned that you are the best nation raised for the mankind. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that you do Amr bil Ma'ruf wa Nahy anil Munkar, meaning you enjoin the good and forbid the evil. This is a key thing to be the best nation, and you believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Of course, that has to be there to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is why we are referred to the ummah of Rasulullah anyways, because we believe in Allah. And this idea of enjoining the good and forbidding the evil, it is connected to understand that what are our responsibilities. Sometimes we don't realize that part of our responsibilities is to make sure that we enjoin the good and forbid the evil at different levels. Like the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when it says, "Ala kullukum ra'in wa kullukum mas'ul," that every one of you, and this hadith is reported by both Imam Muslim and Bukhari, it says that every one of you is responsible, and ra'iyatihi, every one of you is a shepherd or responsible for your subject, or your whoever is under you. فَالْإِمَامُ الَّذِي عَلَى النَّاسِ رَاعٍ, and the imam, the one who rules over you, he is the caretaker of the ummah. وَهُوَ مَسْئُولٌ عَنْ رَعِيَّتِهِ, and he is the caretaker. When the word mas'ul is used, it's not necessarily actually only caretaker. You say it can mean responsible, or the one to whom the su'al or the question, he will be questioned about his subject. That's what the idea is. So imam will be questioned about all the people under him. That's what it means by when a person takes this kind of a huge responsibility that now you will be questioned about the well-being of all the subjects under you. That what did you do when you were given this kind of responsibility? And the hadith continues on and says, وَالرَّجُلُ رَاعٍ عَلَى أَهْلِ وَالرَّجُلُ رَاعٍ عَلَى أَهْلِ بَيْتِهِ وَهُوَ مَسْئُولٌ عَنْ رَعِيَّتِهِ. And the man is the caretaker or the responsible of his family. والمرأة رعية على بيت زوجها وولده وهي مسؤولة عنهم. And now the woman, she is the one who's responsible for the home and the children of the of her husband, or from her children, and she's responsible. وهي مسؤولة. She is questionable for what did she do when she was taking care of the family and the children and the house. وعبد رجل راع. And the hadith continues on and talks about the slave also. And then at the end it says, فَكُلُّكُمْ رَاعٍ وَكُلُّكُمْ مَسْئُولٌ عَنْ رَعِيَّتِهِ. And every one of you is a caretaker and a shepherd, and he is responsible for his subject, responsible for whoever you have been made responsible for. So that's what it means by that, and it's very important to understand. So keeping this in mind, Abu Bakr was very clear about this, that how big of a task that is that he was under, meaning that he is accountable for all the things that are happening. Unfortunately, what we find, some of the Muslims, they mistakenly or misunderstanding, they think of this, that our obligation is we can take care of ourselves and we are taking care of our religious affairs. Alhamdulillah, I'm good to go. And perhaps they have misunderstanding of the ayah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhal ladina amanu alaykum anfusakum la yudurrukum man dalla idha ahtadaytum ilallah marji'ukum jami'an. That here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about, it's in Surah Al-Ma'idah, it's talking about, oh, you who believe, take care of yourselves. No hurt can come to you from those who are in error, the others who are making mistakes. Ilallahi marji'ukum, the return of you all is to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So here, sometimes people think of it, because Allah is saying you are not accountable for all the bad the others are doing, so you are only accountable for what you do. And it can be understood this way, but if you have to look at the whole context of this ayah, and even the explanation of this ayah is given by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Abu Bakr is the one who gave the explanation from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And one time Abu Bakr said, "Inna al-qawma idha ra'aw al-munkar falam yughayyirhu ammahum Allahu bi'iqab." O people, I heard Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam say that if a people see evil but do not change it, Allah will inflict them all with punishment. See, so people see that the others are doing bad. See, the hadith is not talking about you are doing bad. No, you are seeing that others are doing bad, but you keep silent and you don't do anything. For that, the Rasulullah said that you will be punished for that. The similar other hadith, إِنَّ النَّاسَ إِذَا رَأَوُا الظَّالِمَ فَلَمْ يَأْخُذُوا عَلَى يَدَيْهِ أَوْ شَكَ أَن يُعُمَّهُمْ اللَّهُ بِعِقَابٍ. The Rasulullah said of people, if the people see a wrongdoer, meaning somebody who's doing the dhulm, but do not take hold firm or hold him for what he's doing, hold his hand what he's doing. So then the time will have drawn near to Allah to inflict them all with punishment. Okay, so that's that part of it. Imam Nawawi, rahimahullah, he actually also sheds a light on this previous ayah as I was talking about, that can be taken as that you will not be punished for the deviation of the others. So Imam Nawawi says, and he is discussing it, he says, as for the saying of Allah, take care of your own selves, it does not contradict the fact that it is obligatory upon Muslim to enjoin the good and forbid the evil, because Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahy anil Munkar is part of taking care of ourselves. See, if we are not taking care of ourselves means that you do all the good Allah has commanded us to do, and forbid stop all the haram that Allah has commanded us to. So part of the commands of Allah is that we enjoin the good and forbid the evil. So if we are seeing bad things are going on, we cannot just say that I'm gonna let it go. Like the ayah, when the ayah says وَلَا تَزِرُ وَزِرَةٌ وِزْرَ أُخْرَى, and no bearer of burden shall bear another's burden. What it means by that, one will not be accountable for the deeds of the others. What it means by that is this, that you have done everything what you had to do, including Amr bil Ma'ruf and Munkar, meaning enjoining the good and forbidding the evil. And now the others, continue their wrong deeds. So you have done your job. Now you will not be accountable for the bad deeds the other person is doing. But that does not mean that I mind my business completely and always turn my blind eye to the any bad things I see anywhere in the society. No, this is something that is this is an obligation on the Muslim Ummah to make sure that we enjoin the good and forbid the evil. That's what we see Abu Bakr's life also, and this is what he explained about this ayah as well. Now, talking about some of the examples of Amr bil Ma'ruf wa Nahy anil Munkar in his life, we see that Abu Bakr never left any chance wherever he could either enjoin the good or wherever he saw a bad is going on and try to stop the bad also. Okay, there is there's a report about Maimun ibn Mahran reported that a man approached a group of people who were gathered together and saying nothing to anyone else. Okay, so the man, he was approached to a group of people. He did not say anything to anybody, but then he went to one specific person and he said, Assalamu alaikum, O Khalifatul Rasulullah. Now, of course, he was talking to Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anh. Now, Abu Bakr, when he saw that this man singled out Abu Bakr to convey his salam, even to that minor thing, Abu Bakr right away said, me only? What about everyone else who is here? Why you are coming and saying salam to one specific person? So Abu Bakr did not leave even minor things like this to make sure that if there is somebody is acting in the incorrect manner against the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he tried to bring it up so he can fix it right away. Similarly, we find other instances in which Abu Bakr not only try to say the things if he saw something bad, or did an action from his own side. Sometimes actually Abu Bakr, he showed certain things to teach the people about how to do the good by inactivity of certain actions as well, even though that inactivity was meaning that abstaining from an action. Okay, so things like, for example, he did not perform a part of the sunnah, and him and Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anh, like for example, he did not sacrifice the animal during the Hajj season. Now, it's a sunnah, but it was becoming more prevalent about it's as if it is an obligation. Now, I am not trying to bring this point up to show to by any means to anybody to not to perform the sacrifice of the animal during the Hajj season and stuff like that, or to abandon the sunnah. The point here is Abu Bakr was trying to teach something here, and Abu Bakr was trying to show he did not do it so people understand it is a sunnah, it is not an obligation. Okay, so that was Abu Bakr's and Umar's intent over there, to show to the people that it's a sunnah. Now, of course, you find Umar and Abu Bakr Siddiq, they would not leave a chance wherever they can do all sorts of sunnah, to the extent then Abu Bakr was famous about things like when Rasulullah was collecting the donation for Tabuk, that he brought everything from his house. Of course, the command was not to bring everything from the house. So he is reaching out. So it was not an obligation for him to bring everything from the house, but he brought everything to get as much hasanat he could gather. And we talked about Abu Bakr before also, when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was asked the Sahaba that one day that who's fasting, and Abu Bakr right away said he's the one who's fasting. Then he said, who's the one who have did some charity today? And Abu Bakr again, he said he did some charity. He said, is there anybody who attended the janazah? Again, he said he's the one who attended janazah as well. Then I asked, did anybody visited a sick person? And Abu Bakr right away, his response was he did that. Now Rasulullah said, a person who has all these deeds are gathered in one, he's a person of the Jannah, or something like this, Rasulullah said. So now that's the idea here, that Abu Bakr was not trying to avoid the sunnah. Like sometimes people will find that they will try to avoid the sunnah. Oh, this is just a sunnah. What's the big deal? Just leave it. Or this is just something just recommended. No, we are supposed to do as much as possible the recommended actions as well, and try to stay away as much as possible from the makruh action, which is disliked actions. And of course, we must do all the obligatory actions, and we must try to avoid as much as possible from the haram. So example here of Abu Bakr, to be very clear, that was to teach the people about that this is not an obligation, so people do not mistake this idea. Okay, now going back to the same subject of enjoining the good and forbidding the evil. Enjoining the good, Abu Bakr would not leave a simplistic actions. For example, Abu Bakr was so respectful to his father, and his father was what kind of a person he was. We can see that it took him about 21 years since Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anh became a Muslim, since Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was appointed as the prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He became Muslim after 21 years. Even after that, Abu Bakr was continuously being very respectful to his father, because that's a command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Abu Bakr was very respectful when he was a Khalifa. So his father saw Abu Bakr, so he wanted to come, he was approaching him to meet his son. Abu Bakr right away got off his camel, off his ride. He hurried up towards his father to show respect and obedience to the father, that he is the elder, and he went there to show to give the respect to the father. Okay, and on the other side, we find that for his son Abdul Rahman. So Abdul Rahman radiallahu an, this is the son actually who became Muslim after around Hudaybiyah time. And Hudaybiyah time is this is almost 19 years after Abu Bakr became Muslim. But Abdul Rahman, anyways, during the time of Khilafah of Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu an, his son, he got into some argument with his neighbor. And while this argument was going on, he started using some language, some foul language, vile language. And Abu Bakr's response to his son was, do not say vile things to your neighbor, for such speech will remain even though the people will have departed. What it means by that is people will die, obviously, but the actions, what they have done, actions remain, because you are accountable for the actions, and on the day of judgment, you will be accountable. We will be accountable for those actions. Hence, Abu Bakr was reminding his son as well that you and your neighbor will die, but the actions that you're undertaking, so you're using the vile language, using the abusive language, that can be used against you on the day of judgment. So do not use that kind of a language. Okay, now this is about some of the things about enjoying the good and forbidding the evil. Now, sometimes you think of like as if enjoying the good and forbidding the evil is only linked to actions with dealing with the people only. Look, Abu Bakr had a tremendous kind of responsibility on him to rule over such a big state, Islamic state that was expanding as well. And him, even then, he was performing the salah in one of the best ways. He was spiritually also very much linked to Allah Azza wa Jal. And Abu Bakr's, the way he used to pray, the way he was focused, the khushu' that we talk about, that he used to place in the salah was also there. And there's a report that says years after his time, people of Mecca would say, this is how they used to remember Abu Bakr's, the way he used to pray, that would say that Ibn Jurayj learned how to pray from Ata, and Ata learned how to pray from Ibn Zubayr. Ibn Zubayr learned how to pray from Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu an, and Abu Bakr learned from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Abdul Razzaq mentioned that I have never seen anyone perform prayers in a better manner than Ibn Jurayj. So the reason it is mentioned like this, we know that on Friday sessions we talk about the usul al-fiqh and the hadith and all those things when we talk about the isnad and chains. So this is the chain is mentioning, and through the chain is Abu Bakr's name is there, the one who learned from Rasulullah and the one who taught to Ibn Zubayr, and Ibn Zubayr taught to Ata, and Ata taught to Ibn Jurayj. So Ibn Jurayj actually, from the chain perspective, he learned how to pray the way Abu Bakr learned from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this is what they referred as, this is the best way the salah was done. Okay, so this is how Abu Bakr was even when it comes to salah as well. Okay, now and Abu Bakr, whenever he was among the people, and if people are hit with calamities, different kind of people, obviously we all in our lives have our own share of calamities and the difficult times that we go through, whether it could be the parents passing away from the world, or sometimes it could be children, some could be brothers, sisters, whosoever. I mean, there are different kinds of difficult times and calamities that we go through. So when Abu Bakr, when he would meet a person who have lost his loved one, or somebody who has died, Abu Bakr would say to him, where there is consolation, there is no calamity. And when one is overcome by a feeling of restlessness, one benefits nothing as a result. So he says, death is easier than which comes before it. See, so for a believer, what has come before the death is more difficult. So giving comfort to the family who have lost somebody by saying that whatever was before the death was easier than what was before, meaning because after the death, inshallah, that he will be in the Jannah. He will be in a much better place than this dunya. So this is how Abu Bakr would talk to them, and he would say, he's trying to instill the hope in the heart of the people. Okay, and he said that the whatever was before the death was harsher than what comes after it. So he said, remember how you lost Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, meaning when he passed away, because this is the most difficult thing that the ummah has faced, the death of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And in doing so, your own calamity becomes lighter. The moment you start thinking about that calamity, and then he will say, Abdullah wajirakum, may Allah increase your rewards for you. Okay. Now, let me see the time, if we can continue. Okay, so I think we will just continue just enjoying the good and forbidding the evil today. I don't think we'll be able to cover the part regarding the judicial system in his time. About the khutbs that Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu used to give, and he used to be very precise and with a lot of wisdom in the words that he used to give in his talks and the khutbs, or even for Salatul Jum'ah or any other talks that he was giving. There's a hadith or a report mentioned by Abdullah bin Hakim, and he said that Abu Bakr Siddiq delivered the following sermon. He gave, so inshallah, I'll just talk about a part of the sermon. He said, after praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and mentioning that he deserved to, he praised Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as he deserves to be praised, to combine hope and fear, and to unite persistency with supplication and prayer. And he said, for indeed Allah praised Zakaria alayhi salam and the members of his household. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَاسْتَجَبْنَا لَهُ وَوَهَبْنَا لَهُ يَحْيَى وَأَصْلَحْنَا لَهُ زَوْجَهُ وَإِنَّهُمْ كَانُوا يُسَارِعُونَ فِي الْخَيْرَاتِ وَيَدْعُونَنَا رَغَبًا وَرَهْبًا وَكَانُوا لَنَا خَاشِعِينَ. Verily, they used to hasten on to good deeds, and they used to call on us with hope and fear, and used to humble themselves before. So, and he continued on, and know, O slaves of Allah, that Allah has taken covenants from you, and that he has purchased from you that which is little and fleeting from what which is plentiful, talking about the hereafter. Here among you is the book of Allah, whose wonders never run out, whose light never extinguishes. Believe in Allah, Allah's speech, be sincere to his book, and seek light from it for the day of darkness. Indeed, you have been created only to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah has entrusted you to noble scribes who know what you do, meaning the malaika, they are writing whatever you are doing. Allah also know, O slaves of Allah, you come and go on the earth for an appointed time, and when it is that your time will come to you, do not know. When it will come, you don't know. If you are able to coincide your appointed time with a deed that you're performing for the sake of Allah, then do so. But you will not be able to do so except with Allah's help. And then he said something very important, and I want to highlight this. underscore, so we know that we will not fall trap to this. He said, there are people who spend their lives for others, all the while forgetting themselves. I forbid you from becoming like them. So hasten, and then there will be salvation for you. Verily, you are being pursued from behind by that which travels with great speed, which is talking about the time of your life, which is running out. What does it mean here? And there's a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam on the similar wordings as Abu Bakr mentioned, which is that one of the biggest losers are the losers who basically destroy their akhirah for their dunya. And the one who's a bigger loser than that is the one that he does not only destroy the akhirah of his own, but he destroys it for the dunya of somebody else, not even his own. Now, this similar thing that Abu Bakr was saying here. And we can see that there are many a times we think that we are probably doing something good by, for example, doing things for our close ones, our family members, could be our parents, could be our children, and being involved into haram to fulfill their needs, to make their life easy. What does that mean? It means we're making their life easy, we are making this dunya comfortable for them by committing haram, meaning by selling our akhirah for the comfort of this dunya that is going to vanish anyways. And the real life is after death. And that's what Abu Bakr was reminding the people as well when he is giving the khutbah. He's reminding them that do not forget the akhirah while you are just busy in making the dunya and making or selling the akhirah at the stake of this very the dunya, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala referred to in the Quran as mata'ul ghurur. It's a deception. It's a deception. That dunya is a deception. And fuqaha even compared this mata'ul ghurur, dunya, to as least of a thing as a cloth a woman may use to stop the dirty blood. So that's what it means by the dunya. But people go after this dunya so much that they forget that the real life is in the hereafter. So inshallah, we'll stop here about the enjoining the good and forbidding the evil regarding the life of Abu Bakr. There are way too many incidents that we could have discussed, obviously, because of the limited time that we want to spend. Inshallah, we'll discuss as much as we can when we continue to cover Abu Bakr's life, and we'll continue on next week for the judiciary that I was planning to discuss today, but unfortunately I've taken more time. Anyways, if there is any questions or comments regarding the subject that we talked about, which is Amar bil Ma'ruf wa Nahy anil Munkar, meaning enjoining the good and forbidding the evil, and the life of Abu Bakr among the society and as a regular person, besides being the Khalifah to Rasul. Okay, we'll stop.